cover because after the tourism summit, man, oh man, there's a lot of things to be excited for in the Great Rivers and Routes coverage map.
Absolutely. Tourism continues to be a major economic engine for our six-county region, especially here in the Riverbend area. Madison County alone, visitors spent more than $500 million. That generated almost $20 million in local and county tax revenues. And we're really excited to continue to have the conversation that tourism is vitally important, not only to our quality of life here in Alton and the Riverbend area, but it's also a major economic engine for our hotel operators, our small business owners, our bars, restaurants, pubs, sites and attractions. When you think about it, collectively, CJ, there was over $820 million spent in our six-county region. And I always ask elected officials, what would happen if those funds, if visitor spending did not happen, what would happen? How would we replace those tax revenues? How would we figure out how to fix sidewalks and better improve our neighborhoods and all sorts of things that we rely on day in and day out? The visitor economy, that non-resident spending, is critical to drive our quality of life in our communities.
100%. And I also wanted to touch on this numbers. I was reading that 65% of leisure visitors actually came from outside of the state of Illinois. And when I think of that, I go, well, it's a no-brainer, because Ray Hartman and I on the St. Louis station would talk all the time that we always forget that Alton and all this Riverbend region's a part of the Metro East sometimes because of that river boundary. But I'm sure there's folks from Minnesota, Wisconsin, and all of these other great states that are coming in to see what we have to offer, and there's a lot.
Well, and if you look at it, that was a very impressive number. But then you also look at the outdoor recreation and nature-based tourism spending that's taking place. It was up more than 7% year over year. We do have a lot of product, but we need more, and we need to improve our product, especially when it comes to the San Badalabine Trail that bikers use to travel between Alton and Grafton needs some work. We need to continue to embrace the Mississippi River and how we get people on the river to enjoy recreational activities safely. But I think what's important to note in those visitor numbers, only about 8.5% of our total leisure visitors coming from St. Louis.
Wow.
Chicago, it has 8.5%. And we watch that very closely because we use those numbers to then put media spin. So right across the river, 30 minutes away, is this place called St. Louis. And, we have to continue to find ways to get St. Louisans over to Alton, Grafton, Godfrey, Edwardsville, Collinsville. We're seeing increases. We do see increases, but there is a lot of opportunity, what I would call low-hanging fruit. And that's something we're going to focus on here in 2024.
Absolutely. A big thing about the the tourism summit was the sports partnerships that are going across the region. And, the big one for me is this F1 Powerboat Championship. That's a big deal, Cory. I mean, that's a huge, huge deal for the region.
Well, it is, and I want to commend the city of Alton and our elected officials, Park and Recs department. This is really a coordinated effort, CJ. F1 Powerboat we've been working with for 2 years now, and to finally get that, it's going to be called the Midwest Nationals Championship here on the Alton Riverfront. When they hosted this in Sheboygan, Wisconsin last year, there were over 40,000 people that came to Sheboygan, and they don't have the St. Louis media market that we have. And so we're conservatively saying 20,000. I don't have a crystal ball by any means, but we're preparing. There's a group of officials from police, fire, public works, park and rec, amphitheater commission, Alton Marina, interested individuals. And over the next couple of weeks, we'll be rolling out some other announcements. We're just finalizing the logo lockup, the brand. If anybody's interested in sponsoring, let us know. We're going to have some great activities on Friday night. Racing will be all day Saturday and Sunday, and we hope to add some other things on Saturday night. So we really want this to be the premier weekend where people from all over the Midwest come to really watch some high quality 100-mile-an-hour racing on the Mississippi River, but also enjoy the city of Alton. And we have a great farmers market that's on Saturdays. We have great local businesses in our State and Third Street corridor and up and down Broadway and all around. And so we really want to. We're showing the city of Alton that if you invest with us in sports tourism, the economic impact that will bring, not only for hotel room nights, but for food and beverage, sales tax, those sorts of things, that it just will have a ripple effect in the economy.
Yeah, absolutely. And on top of that too, Cory, I want to ask you more about this new sports commission, because the Alton River Dragons were named your Partner of the Year award, and I think that was very appropriately named after the NCBA, the great World Series that they brought in and were able to capitalize on and keep bringing it back for years to come. That's a huge boost. Take me through this new sports commission. Who comprises it, and what's the overall mission of this commission?
Well, right now it's just it's an advisory group right now. We created this advisory group made up of officials throughout Madison County, from elected officials to park and rec leaders to private site and attraction managers to tournament rights holders, and we're all really working together. 2 years ago, we made it a point to really begin to have the conversation that we were hearing from our rights holders from all around the country who want to be in this market. A couple reasons. One, we're centrally located. We're close to an international airport, high-speed rail. We have great leisure product that supports the tournaments when teams are not playing. There's things to see and do. But what we need is improved facility development and better hotel product. And so we've been working collectively over the last year together. You brought up a great point, Alton River Dragons. Dallas and his team and Jason Troop and my team here, we went out and got D1, D2, and the economic impact that brought. That filled over 800 hotel room nights, well beyond Alton. They're coming back, but to get them on a longer term basis, we really need to take Lloyd Hopkins Field to the next level. And the turf field that was invested from the city and the River Dragons was the first step. Now we need to create a championship experience. And we know if we create that, not only will we lock in D1 for future years, that we can now elevate and move into other tournaments that could call Lloyd Hopkins Field this championship weekend experience. And so we're working with the Alton River Dragons. We're working with the city. We're working with Park and Rec and elected officials to make that happen over the next 3 to 4 years. It definitely can be a reality. And CJ, we've turned away nearly $10 million in business. $10 million.
Wow.
In business. We've got about $6 million in business on the books for the next 2 years, but we've turned away $10 million in business. And so what we need to do is to focus our efforts on product development and building a few more facilities that can accommodate. And look, that takes a big conversation, and that takes a lot of people getting in a room to discussing this, but it's needed. And we can compete. We hear it. When we go to rights holder tournament meetings in Portland, Oregon, or in Florida or in Michigan, they all want to be here.
Right.
And we need the incentives to compete, but we also need the facilities.
And I wanted to follow up on this because you make a great point with the River Dragons and what Lloyd Hopkins Field can bring in those improvements. There's no doubt about that. The other question I have is in terms, if you look at numbers, one of the most participated youth sports in the state, one of them is soccer. We have all these beautiful fields around here. Gord Moore's getting improvements. There's all these great clubs around. Is there any idea for Great Rivers and Routes going forward to maybe start bringing in these youth tournaments that do have a major economic impact? Because I've been a part of them. They happen 7 or 8 times a year, and we could really capitalize on maybe some of these youth tournaments.
Oh, absolutely. We are meeting with those professional organizations now, from pickleball to sand volleyball, with what's happening over at Plummer Park in Edwardsville. We're talking to soccer tournaments. We're talking to youth baseball, softball, flag football, you name it, lacrosse, et cetera. These conversations are happening, but it's real. We were able to make a lot of this possible. It's a competitive market,
right?
Very competitive landscape. you've got to go out and buy tournaments. But what we're proving, and we were supported by Madison County government with an ARPA grant to prove this point out. And so we've been out collectively bidding and winning tournaments. And we're working with the state of Illinois. We just submitted a grant to the state of Illinois through the Illinois Office of Tourism and DCEO on a new incentive fund that could help us continue incentivizing events and youth sports tournaments to the marketplace. Last year alone, we had a $1.6 million economic impact, and I think we spent a couple $100,000. So the return on investment is immense. And it's a lot of relationship building, CJ. It's a lot of relationship building, meeting with rights holders, and a lot of relationship building here. But what we need to focus on as a community is product development. I can't say that enough. I was in a meeting this morning in Godfrey. It's about product development, that being hotel product, that being facility development, that being other things that not only the youth sports tournament market needs and the amateur sports, but also what the leisure market needs. We have, we're sitting here on the confluence of three rivers, the Mississippi, Illinois, and Missouri. We're on two national scenic byways, the Meeting of the Great Rivers National Scenic Byway, which my office manages, historic Route 66, the only place in North America where those two national scenic byways intersect. And guess what? The Great River Road is an all-American road. And we have so many great public, private land managers, sites, attractions doing great things. We all need to focus.
Yeah.
And that's product development.
And I have a follow-up on that too, because you made a great point, because, I'm more of an outside thinker. You have to bring people in, like you said. I mean, you can't just keep airing it to the same neighborhood and hoping that neighborhood just multiplies by 10 and you get bigger numbers. How important is it, though, for Great Rivers and Routes in a world where, the public's always curious, to make sure you keep the local communities informed and really learning about the impact that this could have? Because a lot of people are always abrasive to hearing, studies and all of these fun words and terms, but they're very important to inform the public on and really keep them in the know of, hey, this is going to help you. That's something I feel like is a huge thing that you guys do really well, is getting out the word to the local community to inform the local public, but also to promote outside of the local community to bring them in.
Oh, it's conversations like this.
Yeah. But
one-on-one conversations in offices and talking to elected officials and neighborhood associations and other business organizations. I mean, it's our job as the Destination Marketing and Management Organization to really drive travel to and throughout Southwest Illinois. And we do that in multiple different ways, from our sales team out at booking tournaments, to motor coach, to our leisure marketing that we have in 5 different markets around the Midwest. We did a study last year because a lot of people are saying, well, you tell us, people are spending. How do we believe that? And we went out and commissioned an ad attribution study on just our digital advertising we do in our 5 areas around the Midwest. And for every dollar we put in our digital advertising, we got almost $11 in visitor spending per dollar back into our region.
Wow.
At hotels, at shops and restaurants. And we know from the state's numbers that visitor spending is very high. And so we are a one-of-a-kind road trip destination. We have a lot of people that travel here. Whether locals want to believe it or not, we are a tourism destination.
Absolutely.
From the Great River Road to our historic place in history and our sites and attractions, our outdoor adventure product, nature-based tourism product, it all ladders up to a regional destination that people are visiting.
I 100% agree with you. And then learning just some of the things that came out of this tourism summit. I mean, let's just go down the gauntlet, because I know that we're on a limited time. I'll just, wanted to start out with this, and this is just a little bit of clarification. The lighting on Clark Bridge in Alton, about a year ago, we were talking about the LED lights that were coming in, and they were beautiful, and I was excited about it. Now it's back on track. Are we ready to go with those?
Yes, I mean, Alderman Ray Strabel and the city have been working tirelessly behind the scenes. That was an effort that was done from tourism dedicated funds and ARPA funding and township, people coming together. But I hope that's just the first step, right? As you come over the iconic Clark Bridge and you look at this beautiful community on these different view shed levels. And it would be really unique to see some of our historic buildings and infrastructure uplit too. But the lighting of the Clark Bridge is going to be pretty special.
Really cool. And now take me through the series. There's 10 self-serve kayak kiosks that are going to be put in. I mean, that's really, really progressive. I mean, that's a really innovative measure to bring into our waterfront.
Yes, we partnered with the state of Illinois and the Illinois Office of Tourism on a tourism attraction grant last year, and we're partnering with Rent.Fund, who has a lot of these self-serve kayak kiosk stations all throughout the Midwest. So we will have 8 locations, but 10 kayak kiosk stations, all the way from Wood River through Alton to Grafton and to Pere Marquette, and then up to Hardin County up on the Illinois River. So these will be just what it is. You swipe your credit card, you pop out your kayak, all your safety gear. And it's our goal to make sure that we can get people on the water. And people say, why would you want to get on the Mississippi River? Well, the Mississippi River was one of the first 2 nationally recognized water trails in North America. And we're working with the Mississippi River Water Trail Association, IDNR, the Corps, the Coast Guard, and it's going to be a fun new product to get people out on the river.
I love it. I really do. And what I also love, speaking of Grafton, Pere Marquette, you can't forget about Aries when we're talking Grafton. And now we're getting a little bit more, I don't know how you even tie this in, a 1,300-foot zip line at Aries. Can you fill me in on a little bit more of this? This is a big, big thing for adventure enthusiasts and just thrill seekers.
Well, the Lorton family do an incredible job up at Aries Resort, creating more bookable product for all of us here locally, but all the tour groups and international travel and leisure travelers who are coming into the other area. But the Byway Flyway will be a high-paced zip line race. There'll be 2 lines. They're testing right now. I just got an update yesterday.
Have you been on it yet?
No, I'm probably only daring enough to get on the Alpine coaster.
That's me too, Cory. Me too.
But the view from where this will start and zipping 1,300 feet at a pretty high pace, pretty high speed down will be pretty remarkable. That's going to open Memorial Day weekend. And we're pretty excited about that because it's still additional product that gets people to the area. The great news is Aries is a great way to highlight to get people here. Mm-hmm. And then we get them out exploring Broadway Street or one of our craft brewers or wineries or distilleries. And there's so many other things to see and do once you get them here. And that's our goal.
Well, and on top of that, too, I think it's going to be some big news that day when the groundbreaking takes place for the new Byway Discovery Center. You got to fill me in on this. You have to be excited. This is the next chapter of greatness for Great Rivers and Routes.
Well, this has been a process. I'm not going to. We might need a whole nother interview. But yes, it's our intent to be breaking ground on the Byway Discovery Center this. I would say probably time we get our funding from the state. It was, the bond sale through the Capitol bill and things. But our architect, our landscape designer, we brought on Taylor Studios from Rand Tool, who will be our museum exhibit creator and partner. We've already been meeting about the expansion at the Hartford Tower, and that's a part of this project too. So not only are we really creating a new area that will celebrate the American Bottoms and the Hartford Tower and the Lewis and Clark expedition experience there in Hartford, but then being able to orientate people about the Byway at the new Byway Discovery Center, which will be a museum in a park-like setting that will be a place for us to embrace more motor coach business safely. Mm-hmm. And orientate people to the Byway. And, Alton is the gateway to the Byway.
Right.
It's this 33-mile stretch from Hartford to Pere Marquette State Park. But, Alton is the gateway. And we're working diligently with city officials And we hope to have more news on that project in the coming months.
And one final thing for you, sir, because I know we've been talking and hitting our audience with a ton of news and just bouncing back and forth, and really appreciate your time here on the show this morning, Cory. But the last 100 miles of Route 66 is also going to see new projects. And to me, we've talked about Henry over at Henry's Rabbit Ranch before. One of my favorite guys, Rich Henry. And, just thinking about this and the folks and the individuals that really bring out the history of Route 66, now a chance to celebrate the Mother Road again with this investment. Fill me in on this.
Yeah, well, the Mother Road's turning 100 years old in 2026, and that's going to be an international moment for us. We're working, I chair the governor's Route 66 Centennial Commission, made up of elected officials, destination marketing organizations, sites and attractions from Chicago to the Chain of Rocks Bridge. And I'm patiently awaiting the governor's budget address this morning, because the governor's office has been very helpful to us over the last 3 years, providing nearly $12 million in project funding from Chicago to our area.
Wow. And
we literally represent, CJ, the last 100 miles from Macoupin County to the Chain of Rocks Bridge. And so, this is our third year of winning grant funds, partnering with local officials, and we've got some exciting projects, and I definitely want to help Henry at some point to help him. But we've got some new exciting things from the Pink Elephant Antique Mall in Livingston. We'll be building a brand new RV campground facility called Area 66 with EV charging stations. To Litchfield, the Ariston Cafe actually is celebrating 100 years old this year, and we're helping them with a renovation interior and exterior. We're also working on a project in Granite City where we're going to be taking all of the neon signs that dotted the uptown district, or the downtown district that no longer exist, and we're recreating them into a neon sign park.
Oh, wow.
Experience, and it'll be right there in the downtown. It's really cool. Matter of fact, I was just in some planning meetings yesterday with the city, and we've just seen the final designs. Not only are these signs going to look unique during the daytime, but they're going to look unbelievably incredible at night when they're lit up. But recreating old neon that we've lost into replicas are going to be pretty special. So we've got a lot of projects. And then we're working with the state of Illinois, because you got to tell people about what you're doing, right? People just aren't going to stop. And, we're building on the success of the West End service station, and our giant murals and our larger than life Route 66 photo ops. All these things ladder up to telling a bigger story to international audiences. And we've been fortunate to go with the Illinois Office of Tourism around the world to tell about this little slice of heaven between Route 66 and the Great River Road. And 2026 will be a big year. The state of Illinois has invested a lot of money. We've got a lot of great partners on the ground between Verdon, Girard, Litchfield, Edwardsville, Collinsville, East St. Louis, Granite City. Everybody working together to make sure we have visitors staying longer in our region and spending more money.
Absolutely. And Cory, please keep us updated throughout the next couple of years. You're welcome back anytime, and I always appreciate talking to you and filling us in on all the great work that you guys are doing at Great Rivers and Routes. Sir, thank you so much for your time this Wednesday morning. I keep thinking it's Thursday.
I did too. And CJ, I do apologize for being late. I got to come in studio next time.
Absolutely. The door's always open for you, sir, and I always appreciate it.
Thanks, CJ.
Thank you. We'll take a quick pause here at 10:45. Our daily show will continue.